This is a 14 needle round shader. Again, used for the same purposes. Sometimes shading, sometimes lining. Why I pulled these ends off here, I have to check these because of this type of coating that's put on here to protect these. If you'll notice, I have 3 different types of eye loops out here. I have a 5 power, a 15 power, and a 22 power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the needle itself to make sure that there's no particles from the protective coating in between the needles. If there was, it possibly could cause a conflict when I'm putting ink into the skin. Over here we have the different types of tubes that are used in accordance with the needle bars that we're using. Some of these you can use in combinations of what you have. If you look here, this is a single needle liner, or you could put a 3 needle liner bar into this. Personal preference, round tip. This is a 5 needle liner tube. A round tip. This is a 3 needle or a single needle square tip. This is a different type tube tip because in the needle that you use, it has to sit directly in the bottom of the V. If it doesn't, it will not feed correctly for you. This, you could use an 8 needle round in. This is also a liner or possibly a filler, depending upon what your preference is. This here is a 14 needle shader tube, round tipped, for filling or lining on occasion. This is a flat shader tube. You can use a magnum in this. You can use a flat. Why the tube tip is as wide as it is? Because it will allow the 6 to go in there and lay nice and flat and feed properly for you. This tube, sometimes it's personal preference because it's a little easier to clean. Again, a 6 needle flat shader tube, different type, a little bit more closed, sometimes holds ink a little better because the ink goes up inside and it stays up here better for you. Sometimes it's a little harder to clean them, but they feed better sometimes. If you'll look, the difference in the hole size in the end. When I was talking to you about the particles from the protective coating, you want to make sure that you get to check them with your eye loop. A very important part. You should clean your needle bars before autoclaving them. This particular eye loop is good for seeing particles in here and setting up your needle bars in your machines. If you're looking for a damaged needle that you had bumped, you're better to go to like a 15 or a 22. It will give you a closer view on the needle itself and the point. We have up here, we have a type of spray that's being offered out now. It's spray ice. It can be used on tattoos after they're done to help swelling, taking away some of the stinging sensation that sometimes tattoos cause. And Hibiclens, which we use when applying a paper stencil. If you have problems or questions on what we've explained to you here, you're best to refer back to Tattooing from A to Z. There's photographs, written documentation of what goes on with the machine, and it's just very informational. We'd like to talk a little bit also about the Lexan tubes that are offered. A 3-needle round tip. The sterilization for them are steam or liquid. This is a 3-needle square tip. Remember, in using a square tip liner, the needle has to sit in the bottom of the tip. This Lexan tube here is a 4-needle flat shader. This Lexan tube is a 6-needle flat shader, primarily all for disposable. Alright, now we're going to tell you about the parts upon the machine in case you have to call up and order parts at any time. From the top, we have a front binding post, which is the post that runs across here. We have a back binding post, which is a back connection to your clip cord. We have a capacitor, which runs on the back side of the frame. Your coils, front spring, back spring, O-ring, armature bar, armature bar nipple, contact screw, contact point, needle bar, tube, tube tip guard, lever lock fastener device, frame, black nylon screw for holding in the contact screw, rubber bands, number 12s.